train on this map, whereas SANDBOX are poking from a really long way away. They're split pushing theoretically with a jungler if they would like to, but I just like the idea of a Jason and Ezreal standing next to a Lux who hits a life binding and someone dies.
This is definitely a very scary poke comp that still has a very beef.
Is of course a legendary Talia player just in general, but she has been picked by a lot more people. It doesn't necessarily feel like a Faker champion, but he did play it a lot when she was top of the meta. Just hasn't stepped back to it now that she's a bit more of a fringe pickup. Having a look over the other side, the other thing that we do really need to remember is the fact that OnFleek was the Jungle Jack's guy.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a good time back on a favorite pick here against the Jarvan of Clid, unless Clid can get things done in the early game like we've wanted of him in summer. See how it goes as we get into game one. SKT fans definitely in full voice, but SANDBOX fans also able to offer some pretty high voices too.
The SKT fans were extremely excited with the intro.
Yeah.
I heard the cheers as that was playing for the first time for them.
And let's see if SKT can live up to it, because it certainly was worshipping this SKT roster that was so dominant towards the tail end of spring, and of course in that 3-0 final. It was a really fun final, but I feel like it could have gone a little bit longer, you know?
Yeah, it definitely could have. Okay. So SKT not willing to take any risks here in the very start of the game. Their team composition, it has quite a bit of scaling inside of it.
Yeah, I feel like
so
Teddy Zaya as well. I mean, he's legendary on this champion and does scale extraordinarily well.
The SKT comp definitely starts getting very strong around 2 and 3 items. And the 3 item is actually the tipping point for these two team compositions. So expect to perhaps have some chaos unfold around then.
The other thing I'm looking at here is the fact that SANDBOX and SKT, with these compositions, have very different win conditions and mid-game and late-game plans, right? You look on SANDBOX's side, it's all about pick, it's all about long range, apart from the Jax, and sieging in the mid-game, right? Like, that's what this composition does extraordinarily well. They can split push also pretty well with the Jace and the Ryze in a side lane, and you could also just put the Jace in the mid lane. You could potentially use your Jax as a split pusher in the later stages of the game. I know that OnFleek does like to pick up some of the farm. So a flexible composition, but does want to rely more on that siege, whereas SKT, that's a pretty good teamfight comp that they've got right there, and they can also collapse very, very well with Faker's Talia. Yeah,
they have a lot of ways to answer to an intended 1-3-1 from SANDBOX, which is weaker naturally because it is red side. So the proximity to Baron and the ability to turtle the blue side jungle for SK Telecom is very easy in the later stages. So they're going to have their work cut out for them. SANDBOX don't necessarily need Baron to win, but their team comp doesn't have a way to resist Baron, so they do need to prevent it from being captured. And with Infernal Dragon being the first one of the game, it is of super high priority to both of these teams, but I would say that it benefits SANDBOX a bit more than SKT.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And also, you could imagine that SANDBOX has the higher priority. They're the team that does really like to scuffle early, and they've got a composition that is going to be able to do that. If they can land the right abilities. Both of these teams, though, are going to be playing, I guess, on a similar pace. I'm just looking at where the item spikes and where the power spikes are going to be coming in for both of these sides, and I feel like it is bridged relatively well by a lot of different choices that they have made. And Jax versus the Jarvan in the early game. Is that feeling Jarvan favored to you? I'm trying to work this one out. I haven't seen this matchup for quite some time.
I'm not entirely familiar with the matchup. Normally people don't pick Jax jungle in solo queue. I know Jax jungle is very good against Xin Zhao, for instance, but against Jarvan, not so certain about how everything ends up going down, but obviously Jax does scale. He can beat Jarvan in the isolated 1v1, and obviously there's some counter gank and match gank potential for the Jax, so it can put a little bit of pressure on the J4, but they're both serving different purposes inside of this game.
Well, let's see where he's going to go as far as items are concerned as well. Looks like it is going to be OnFleek's favorite in the Cinder Hulk Jax. where he goes after that is the big question mark, because he does like to use that, especially now with the Cinderhulk buffs giving you even more of that jungle clear. He's going to be very, very happy just to be a bit of a counter-strike bot until he has maybe a couple more items. Can really take it to SKT. Top side of the map, Khan and Summit, just gentleman's agreement farming by the looks of things. Faker takes an overload, but has his corrupting potion. And Dove is going to go back to this new preferred start for the Rise to get that extra power, double Sapphire Crystal as well as the boost.
On Fleek, still clearing his jungle, moving up towards the top side. Neither jungler going to be looking to try to cheese the dragon out super early. Clid getting a very valuable ward as he begins to path up to top lane. Summit, I don't think he's going to be able to get the crash. Yeah, the incoming minion wave is way too close. He's under a lot of pressure right now, but Clid had different plans. He just set up a network of wards that they're going to tell everything that On Fleek is going to attempt to do. And if he doesn't show on any of those wards, it basically alerts Teddy and Mata that, okay, he has to be bot side.
Yeah, he has to be somewhere down there. Deep Vision is theoretically there for SANDBOX on the other side of the map, as Clid's going to get notified of On Fleek's journey here to his own Raptor camp, that Clid's just going to last hit all too easily. That's real bad news here for On Fleek, who is getting bullied a little bit.
And the problem now is that On Fleek doesn't know that he's recalling on top of a ward. And with the Golem camp being the one that's going to come up in left side Scuttle Crab, and bottom lane having the priority that it does, it might actually be able to convert into a dragon capture momentarily. But seems like their initial intention is going to be on the left-hand side Scuttle Crab.
Well, On Fleek's actually looking for Khan here. Umbral Dash should be available here to get him out of some potential trouble, but he's just going to face check a counter-strike. That is bad news. Khan turning it around, though. They're looking for more teleport. Going to come in from Dove.
The question.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just a really scared SANDBOX that didn't want to have that one turned on.
All right. Well, I'm glad SK Telecom's at least getting a laugh out of it. That was a really bizarre teleport from Dove. Way too early.
Weaver's Wall was there from Faker, so in theory they could have turned up in the nick of time, which is why they would have disengaged, but I don't think that Khan was going in all by his lonesome against two people with the teleport there. So
Teddy and Mata are just doing a fantastic job down here.
Yeah, just smashing this one.
Yeah.
And look, Teddy and Mata are just fantastic Xayah Rakan players in general. Like, that's just how they've been able to win a lot of their games, be it here in summer or other times. Really good to see them continuing to play well. In fact, it's a very interesting point, the fact that Mata's actually played more Rakan than Teddy's played Xayah, given Xayah's current popularity. Just that SKT really do like to have Mata on a champion that can engage on a dime. And now, might be able to do so, as Faker's Weaver's Wall available, 4 members towards the bottom side. Control Ward clears out that ward. Mata can battle dance at an extended range over towards Teddy if he would like to. On Fleek spotted out on that ward, as Clid was trying to steal that one as well. Blast Cone going to be... Oh no, okay, Clid. He is eventually going to get out of there, but there's a lot of control vision here towards the bottom side. In fact,
oh, Joker.
Oh, he's going to face check. Clid actually feeling
Clid knows
the pressure.
Jax is just north of him, and Lux having the Aftershock, even if he throws the EQ.
But there's the Cataclysm, as Mata gets the Battle Dance, but just dives in on top. He's going to be able to get out with the Grand Entrance, but Clid has to flash. Mata below 200 health. True Shot Barrage avoided. That was a very weird Cataclysm.
That was one of the weirdest things. He wasn't willing to take it when he had the element of surprise, but decided that now was the time. That was a very interesting... Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
We'll go with interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good way of doing
All right.
I'm slightly perplexed as well. But SANDBOX will transition this one into a very easy Infernal Drake. That is the first notable advantage here in this game. 300 gold lead or something like that here for SKT.
Well, Jax got 8 AD from the Infernal. I was paying attention.
Hey, there we go.
Right,
it doesn't even have
almost
any AD boosting items.
Exactly. So, that Dragon is definitely worth several thousand gold to the SANDBOX team comp. right now, as currently things are A-okay for them, except in bottom lane.
Yeah,
That is where the CS deficit is present.
That's why SKT does have that slight advantage, like you were talking about. Top side of the map, Khan as well is actually farming very well against a Jace that should have a theoretical advantage, at least somewhat, against this Aatrox as the game begins. Now has a serrated Dirk, both of them looking like they're building towards a Ninja Tabu, as Khan will have to wander back if he does decide to go home. Not going to just yet. But this 20 CS advantage, just in a pure 2v2 from Teddy and Mata, is very impressive.
See if they're able to convert into some plate capture off of this recall pressure. As Ghost and Joker are going to try to just farm out the wave, and everyone's content to do that. It looks like instead of trying to continuously pressure bottom, they're going to rotate up to mid, they're going to crash this wave, and it relieves Faker to do what he's doing, which is to repel the enemy jungle and seek out any sort of vision control. They're going to be able to capture the Herald, and then they should, in theory, be able to convert Herald into several hundred gold worth of turret plates.
And you can see actually the maneuvering of the bottom lane towards mid while they take that one down with the help of Faker was actually really, really intelligent, making sure that Dove couldn't get himself over there. Pressure was on in that mid lane, and then the retransition down towards the bottom side. They will sacrifice a plate in the bottom lane, but you know how much more they're going to get, especially here for Khan.
Here it is.
As Shelly's dropped down instantly. Jace, no teleport, walking back to lane. This could just be the turret going down. OnFleek going to have to give up on his Krug camp in order to come in here and stop Shelly from obliterating the top lane.
And that should be another... Oh, doesn't look like it's actually going to get it in the end.
11.5 minutes, so you have a feeling that Khan should be able to push up and take that one out. Item advantage is there for Summit here as Khan wants to go back home.
I think a plate went down without gold being given to Khan.
Oh, yeah, potentially.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit unfortunate.
However, he goes back and completes his Black Cleaver, so that's fortunate.
That is quite fortunate. There is a bit of a item discrepancy in the top lane right now.
I'd say somewhat. Summit looks to be building towards Ghostblade first. We saw this out of Nogari actually going double lethality instead of the Manamune that we've seen from a lot of Jaces. Seems to be the same school of thought here for Summit. Faker comes on over. No blue buff. Oh, no blue buff is there. He's just hiding.
Going to be given over to Faker.
Yep. I don't think that seismic shot landed, but it doesn't matter. Able to pick that one up comfortably. Moves back to the mid lane where CS is dead even. Not after the mini wave goes down, as if Faker can collect them all, and looks like he is going to be able to do that. And yeah, things are... It's weird because we're talking about sort of lull states and things like that, but I feel like it is a game of chess. It is one of those situations where the answers are being made, preventing potential plays rather than we're just not doing anything.
Right, and both of these teams have very explosive team fights once they unfold. Obviously, SK Telecoms is much more reliant on being together as a unit than SANDBOX's is, as they have the gears available to poke, split push, break apart, kite backwards, and whatnot. But as it stands right now, I mean, SANDBOX aren't obligated to fight. They have double tier that's ramping up. They're waiting for their items to basically come in. Ezreal has the Iceborne Gauntlet, but with an Open Dragon being the next one coming up in 55 seconds, it's not the highest priority.
Quickness already in. He is going to utilize the flash to get the grand entrance, but now they're just going to gank some plates. OnFleek walks over a control ward. Joker down here as well. Click flag and drag if he wants to get out, and he's going to do so. Loosen Singularity. Just to look before Joker walked into that river. Tower plates did go down, but that is a flash used from Mata that SANDBOX might be able to utilize. As Summit really struggling here against Khan, but evens out the trade.
Yeah.
As it concludes.
He gets quite a bit of pushback against the Aatrox right there, as it was looking like Khan was going to dominate that entire trade.
Yeah. Heads up play of Summit not to just play super defensively. OnFleek walking on another control ward. The amount of money that SKT have spent on control wards is probably more than the gold lead that they have right now, which is only to the tune of about 500. It's still quite a few control wards if you do lock that one down. And the fact that they haven't been able to transition that into anything other than a Rift Herald. As far as the Drakes, the Infernal Drake went down to SANDBOX. They look to be taking...
Oh!
Okay. Light Binding lands. Joker says, well, Final Spark may as well be used, and softens up the SKT bottom lane even more. And with Mata unable to flash anywhere, means that they have to be even more respectful.
Faker actually unable to steal away the Raptor. And interestingly, there's quite a level discrepancy in top. I think that Khan is about 11.3. Summit, he is going to farm this entire wave. So I'm not sure where Khan is standing right now. Perhaps just on the cusp of level 12.
Well, Ghost and Joker find cleared. He does clear out the control ward. That's going to be fine. Joker replaces his bottom side. Ghost and Joker are actually feeling pretty comfortable right now. Joker with his flash back available again. No worries. And they're slowly but surely closing that CS gap that Teddy had built up for himself. This is, of course, the Ezreal time to shine. Iceborne Gauntlet built up. Itemizes pretty nicely against the Xayah. So having that extra armor is going to allow for a better laning phase. But as Teddy comes back down, he's not going to be able to teleport back into the lane. Ghost actually deciding that he doesn't want to either. So more skirmish potential available for SANDBOX. This game is going slowly, LS.
Yeah, it is going very slow, especially after such a chaotic series.
Yeah.
To kick off this day.
At this point in time, in game number 1, between Kingzone and Afrika, I think we had like 30
24 kills.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I think around 24. I think it was 13 to 11.
Clid's going to gank a turret, gets one auto attack, but you can see OnFleek comes up to meet him. Neither team actually wanting to take that 2v2. Especially not SANDBOX, as Faker did have the inside track on the roam. Dove holding onto his teleport. OnFleek still staying in the area.
Oh, man.
Infernal Chains are going to land. Don't get the pullback as Clid wants to get the knock-up. Isn't going to be able to do so as OnFleek gets one stun. Faker turns up. Flash has to be used to get over the Weaver's Wall. Seismic Shove is a little bit off kilter, as Dove has already used the teleport. So still a trade-in advantage for SKT, but nothing really going to come of it.
So they end up getting quite a bit of value in terms of, the turret is going to go down. Khan going to be the one getting that. It's going to be the first turret of the game. And they also pulled Ryze away from mid, which means that as soon as Talia gets back there, she's going to be able to reestablish the priority against him.
Huge lead for Khan. In fact, the entire gold lead is almost on the Aatrox up towards the top side, over 1,000 gold ahead of Summit. And that's actually really scary, right? Because this is an Aatrox, a champion that's more than happy to scale into the late game, does a lot of AoE damage in a team fight. And if he's freely diving in on top of this squishy composition that's going to take some finesse to play out in the late game, and it could be quite scary. They'll need to be playing their best game of Peel as they can. They're clearing out some vision, but at least SANDBOX do have a few different options here. Mata has his shield removed, but is otherwise unperturbed by the ultimate here as Clid gets the Flash Cataclysm. Dove, his passive is there. Nice sidestep on the Seismic Shove. Gets underneath the turret, and now Summit wants some more. In goes Khan, but immediately Lightbound in the mid lane. And once again, no first blood on either side.
Yeah, and it's not like both teams aren't trying to get something going. A little bit uncharacteristic right there for Faker and Clid to botch the kill on Dove, as it almost looked like surely he was going to go down for first blood, and then the rest of SANDBOX would be left watching.
Saw Joker there actually just trying to stop her back with a Final Spark.
Yeah.
Trying to get some information as well on the bottom side. He would have chucked the Lucent Singularity if he had it missed. Things like that. Let's have a look at this one more time.
Take a look at this. Cataclysm comes out, Workground. Seismic Shove ends up whiffing. And then in addition to that, Clid and Faker continue to whiff on ability. Summit comes in, gets the flash out of Faker. And then just south of that, Mata actually locked up on Fleek so that he couldn't try to enter into the fight in any way, shape, or form.
Well, now you can see this tower on the bottom side is about to fall down. Just shows that Ghost is ahead by quite a bit. When it comes to the gold, there's only a Ninja Tabi completion as well as that dagger for Teddy. Manamune almost done for Ghost as he throws out the True Shot Barrage, just finds a minion wave, as most of our Ezreals are wont to do. Just looking to keep this shove on so that Teddy and Mata don't get themselves a free back. Although teleport is available. Rune Prison down onto Clid, who takes most of his health bar and damage. OnFleek clears out all of the vision, and SANDBOX now have the game back under their control, despite the gold lead actually extending a little bit in favor of SKT. Vision is there for SANDBOX. They have a lot of control, despite the fact that Khan is sort of running away with his top lane.
And let's not forget that they have the Infernal Dragon, so the amount of stats that it's providing for so many of these champions is definitely going to make up for the gold deficit that they have. Ghost taking a little bit of damage, and this is the third dragon now going over to SANDBOX. A little bit unlucky on the rolls.
Yeah, just takes it for free. Cloud Drake coming in on top of the Ocean and Infernal. But SANDBOX are setting themselves up to have a monopoly on the Drakes, which means that if we do get to that late game stage, which this game is slowly but surely getting towards very quickly, as Baron has just spawned now at the 20-minute mark, the Elder Drake is going to mean everything for SANDBOX and basically nothing for SKT. That's exactly what you want. SKT will need to start making some proactive moves in the next 10 minutes or so. Otherwise, SANDBOX might be able to just wrestle this game out of the way, and they can be obnoxious with this comp from ahead. This is a composition that from ahead is almost one of the most difficult to deal with, just because you do position Joker and then get instant kills if you have those extra items to lock down the extra damage.
SKT becomes so much more reliant on their summoners in order to fully fight out to fully take the team fights, because you need to have the flash on Mata, you need the flash on Teddy, you need Faker and Clid to have their flash too, for all the repositioning that's going to be necessary against the barrage that is offered by the Ezreal and the Lux, as well as the Jace.
Not to mention the fact that SANDBOX don't actually need to commit anything in order to utilize all of these different tools, right? They can just throw out life bindings on cooldown underneath turrets and continue the pressure onto SKT. If anything lands, then that's great. If it doesn't, who cares? We'll just wait a few seconds until the next one is available. So it really does become quite easy to navigate. As you can see, top side of the map, Dove is going to spread the wealth to his team. Summit wants to clear out some control vision, and a back is going to come in here from Faker. And that's 2 turrets to 1 as our SANDBOX pull back. They are actually ahead by 100 gold as the dust settles.
Well, two-shot barrage comes out, pokes Mata a little bit.
Yeah, Battle Dance and Grand Entrance.
SANDBOX has a gold advantage now.
Yeah, that's what I just said. So it's sort of ballooned. I mean, 400 now is that margin, as I believe a minion wave was just completely soaked by Summit. Now goes home, has 2 items. And the Black Cleaver is his decision, just mirroring Khan's items completely. Wanting to teamfight a little bit more.
At this point, both teams are content to just posture, and SANDBOX, they can keep waiting a little bit longer. It's going to be the second items coming in for almost all the champions now on the side of SANDBOX, whereas SK Telecom, if they have all their summoners available at around 3 items, they are very scary in a one-shot burst kind of a team fight. But as long as SANDBOX can weather that storm, they do look quite good as the game continues.
And also at the moment, strategically, with what they're playing right here, the 1-3-1 with the Ezreal side from the Lux in the mid lane, and with the Jax running around and taking as many camps as possible is suiting them a lot. Certainly able to get a little bit more value out of that one with the lane assignments that they have available to them. I mean, we've spoken like a broken record about the power of Ezreal and what he does for these sort of compositions, with the fact that he can sit in the mid lane and just be really comfortable. Weaver's Wall coming in. Clid's looking for another one. Good knock up there onto Joker. Takes the second Q from Khan, but Khan gets turned on. Has to go golden. No reset just yet. Lightbind. Sorry, Final Spark comes in, but it's not enough. First kill goes over to Teddy as Khan is looking to go home. Might have a teleport available to come back, but that's 1 for 1 in the end. Both junglers are dead.
Here's the problem, is how do you resist the rain of arrows that are just constantly shot down at you without your primary engage tools? Everyone is actually just a sitting duck.
Yeah.
It becomes a big game of dodgeball.
And you saw Teddy didn't actually manage to dodge that ball as the empowered Shock Blast chunked Teddy out to the point where he couldn't help with that wave clear. And that is the first 2 kills of the game, guys. Going down at 23 minutes in. This game is very, very slow, but once again, it's Clid trying to start things off and ultimately, in the end, getting punished. Khan tried his darndest to get things going.
Yeah, and this is basically, Faker uses the Weaver's Wall, but his teammates aren't totally in position to follow up, and it was actually a really close call for Khan. There's probably a bunch of scenarios where you replay this, he ends up actually going down. Everyone times their stuff correctly, even against this flash, so
바로 준비하자 이거.
now they're talking about actually preparing Baron.
발언명 정비야.
Yeah.
They're talking about who has no flash, and Clown Drake coming up now in 15 seconds. SKT has to be really, really careful.
Well, Life Binding landed, but no follow-up just yet. On Fleek, standing on top of a ward as SANDBOX clear out the mid-minion wave. Bottom lane is occupied by Summit, and SKT looking to fight for this Cloud Drake, but I don't know whether it's even necessary here as Mata has to go back. He's below half health. SANDBOX will walk over and get their fourth. This is, I think, what a lot of SKT fans have been fearing moving into this series is just too slow. And SANDBOX are also not playing quickly, but they understand that if the slow game continues to get played, they've got the Muramana, they've got the Seraph's completion, they've got a lot of tools, and OnFleek will be a legitimate carry himself as that Trinity Force is the next item to come in.
So that is not too far away. Still really unfortunate Drake rolls for SANDBOX as a third Cloud Dragon will be coming up next. So really unlucky if they don't roll the next Infernal.
Yeah, they do have one of them, but I see your point. I like 3 Cloud Drakes. I think the extra movement speed is actually becomes pretty silly.
Yeah, it
three.
is. At three, it is really silly, and I guess it definitely can help with the repositioning.
Yeah, with this composition that does want to be standing at range and poking you out and trying to hit these skill shots that they can weave, certainly will stop SKT's more. I'm going to all-in you as many times as we can composition.
So, at this stage of the game, third items are now coming in for some of the members of SKT, and once they have all of their abilities, I feel like they're going to have one shot, one opportunity.
There's the synergy.
There it is.
SKT have no control over this Baron, though. SANDBOX moving on in. Loosen Singularity lands. Nice W there from Ghost, weaving it over the wall, but Clid's not going to have that one procced on him. Khan moving towards the bottom side. Teleport available, no flash, just to note.
Interestingly enough, Ezreal actually opted for Blade of the Ruin King as his third item instead of the Luden's Echo. That's basically showcasing that he wants the sustain and he wants the ability to have even more peel to just not be held down. Because he must already acknowledge that if SKT can't pin me down in one go, I can just take over a team fight. I can heal all the way back up. And with Lux's shields and stuff, it's way too much of a nuisance. You don't need the extra damage from Ludens.
I also think that if they're going to use Summit in a side lane, they'll have they'll have almost 100% magic damage if he does go for that more hybrid build out of the Ezreal. I think focusing on the AD side of Ezreal's kit is smarter when you've got a Lux who does a decent amount of damage in her own right and Dove on the rise. So we'll be making the opposition build magic resist and therefore get the most bang out of your buck. No pun intended. Fleek waiting around here. Trinity Force completed. 2 items are pretty powerful as Joker. The Lux has been impressing me. Yeah. This is a guy that played basically 3 champions in the spring season, and none of them were Lux.
Oh, man.
Okay, Blue Trinket is well-timed as SANDBOX are looking to turn, most likely. They just want to bring SKT to them. Clid, is he going to start another weird fight?
This has been the downfall of many teams.
Okay, Weaver's Wall to bring Faker in, but the Baron does fall down. Flash immediately from Summit, but he's over the Weaver's Wall. Cataclysm actually is what gets them out of there as the Jarvan is going to fall immediately. Teddy with the Blade Caller. Gigantic play into the backline as Khan now has the reset on the World Ender, and SKT dive on top of SANDBOX. Better late than never when it comes to the engage.
And so they managed to bring down some of the members on the side of SANDBOX, primarily the 2 split pushers, the Jace and the Rise, which was really big for removing their Baron. But nonetheless, Baron does go over to SANDBOX, and that did come at a cost. They lost a lot of summoners. We talked about before, they need their summoners against the SANDBOX team composition. We take another quick look at the replay. Clid trying to come in here. Mata a little bit off time. They do manage to get in the end. Summit goes over the edge on the left-hand side. Eventually, Xayah goes into stopwatch. Final Spark timed a little bit prematurely, but it didn't matter. Khan doing some nice moves into the backline of SANDBOX. He managed to get a couple of kills before being held down by that final light binding. In the end, it was better than nothing for SKT, but SANDBOX still come out with a big lead.
They do. You can see it's only 37 gold, the Baron power play, but still with 2 minutes on 3 members of this SANDBOX squad. And if this team has a Baron, they're gods, right? This is the Jace, this is the Ezreal, this is the Lux. These are Siege champions anyway, and with a Baron buff, it becomes ungodly. So whether SKT can force more fights against the 3 members that do have the Baron is going to be the question. At least we do have Teddy with some pretty big items. Last Whisper is done, as well as the first 3 items that you would want on your Xayah, one of them being that Infinity Edge, so a bunch of money. Didn't even die in that last fight, so still holds on to that 400 gold bounty on top of his head, as he's been farming way more than Ghost has. On Fleet, gonna get knocked up as there's the seismic shove we've been waiting for. Faker throws out another one, but On Fleet gets out with his flash. Now, fights on other fronts. Faker looking for even more as the Weaver's Wall was jumped off of, and SANDBOX just seem to have more members on the map right now. Ghost is making sure Teddy can't even get over towards his own inner turret. And the W is going to explode. That's going to be another tower falling down at the same time as that top lane inner as well. And SKT are going to take a Cloud Drake.
No. You didn't want to take that Cloud Drake if you're SK Telecom. Ask yourselves, what's the percentage chance increase that Cloud Dragon's going to do when they're totally on the defensive?
And it accelerates the Elder Drake.
Elder's coming now. Why did you take it?
They maybe were trying to force another Drake, but they were too slow. In the meantime, this tower is just going to fall down. You can see the siege potential of these 3 members of SANDBOX. Okay, in goes Cleared. It's another Cataclysm, but I think it's cataclysmic for SKT. He's going to go down for nothing. And now SKT, I don't think they can actually defend this inhibitor. SANDBOX have played so slow and steady, so against their normal playstyle, but SKT have had absolutely no answer to it.
Yeah, they're getting... they're being downloaded right now is what's happening.
Yeah.
Across the map.
That reminds me of Infiltration, famous Korean Street Fighter player.
That's what I was thinking of. I know you're a Street Fighter fan. I had to weave that in there.
Also an Infiltration fan. He was at our local, I think it was about a year ago. Yeah, he's a really, really lovely guy. As we're going to go back to the game now. On Flake's going to clear out a control ward inside the enemy base, and that's what you can do when you're a Trinity Force Jax who's about to complete a Guardian Angel.
I'm really glad that SK Telecom did SANDBOX a favor. They knew that they just wanted to go next fast, so they caused the Elder Dragon to be spawning.
Yeah, I mean, I think it must have been a mistake trying to push another one out, but they were just like a few seconds too late, maybe? I don't know. It just seemed like a really weird idea.
They were taking it at 30, 40-ish, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong there, but...
Well, actually, yesterday, Papa and I were talking about this as well. We mentioned you when we were having the discussion. Just there was another Drake that was taken, and I asked Papa whether or not this was intentional, and it was another mistake. Like, probably shouldn't have grabbed it and forced an extra one before the Elder Drake because you want to be accelerating the game. Was the case at that time. This time around, it's forcing an Elder Drake against an opposition with 4 Drakes that say thank you very much. Right.
And, you know, if you're a viewer and you're watching this, why is taking the Cloud Dragon so bad? Well, think about it in a percentage increase. What is the chance that the Cloud Drake MS is going to realistically come into play against the SANDBOX team composition when they're on the back foot, when they're always getting pushed in, and it's not going to be that useful, versus what is the percentage likelihood that now SANDBOX gets Elder?
Well, I mean, the thing is, as well, is in 2.5 minutes from now, SKT will have an impossible choice to make.
Yeah.
As Armada, he's going to dive on forward. No one gets knocked up. It's a decent charm. Weaver's Wall is going to push them into the back line. That's going to be GA popped immediately, but SANDBOX just have way too much to go on. Ghost is alive in the back line. Somehow is Teddy against the world. It's been the case so many different times. Realm Warp, though, is going to close the distance. Everyone trying to kill Teddy. He survives for so long, and now SANDBOX will have to go back to try and find themselves a Baron. There's On Fleek. He had the counter-strike, and that is going to be that. Almost the ace, but I believe Clid respawned in time.
He does end up respawning, but that's going to be all that she wrote here in game number 1. So, SK Telecom, they lost on blue side, Atlas.
They did.
I think that's it.
It's unfortunate.
Just go to a winner's interview, right?
Yeah. This was the side that they were able to win on in the past, but SANDBOX, they're able to mix it up. It sort of just depends on how things go. SANDBOX Gaming are going to pick up the win over SKT in a very slow game. SKT going to have to turn things around. I think they did make improvements as far as the draft, but please more than 2 kills by 25 minutes.
Came into this, we weren't expecting to have a phenomenal Lux performance, but he was pretty good.
The thing that I wasn't expecting anything out of this Lux pick, and we've seen what Lux does if you're not necessarily seasoned on the pick, right? We've seen Luxes sort of just fall into obscurity.
Yeah.
Joker doesn't come off as a Lux player. He was basically a 3-trick in spring season. Now sort of added Nautilus to that repertoire, but feels very similar to sort of his Tom Kench, Shen playstyle that he had before. Lux, definitely a departure from that, but he played extraordinarily well. A lot of the light bindings were fantastic, kept himself alive in lane, and that's the most important thing to do. I was very, very proud of him. I could see it going to the Rise as well. I think the Dove also played very, very well. But otherwise, it was just a team effort from SANDBOX and able to meticulously dismantle SKT in a pretty slow and methodic fashion. Yeah,
and I don't know what SKT is going to actually bounce back with in game number 2. I mean,
it's just the thing that we're speaking with a little bit of disappointment right now because we've just been treated to this fantastic fast series earlier on, and SKT haven't made the changes, and SANDBOX just sort of let them be SKT and then beat them at their own game. See whether they can turn it around as we move to game number 2 and hope for some more explosive action. Stay tuned.